Oh, Colin, hi. So Wellesley Media Channel is going to record this just so that we have a record of our conversation. And we modeled this roundtable around a roundtable discussion that we had 10 years ago for the 40th anniversary of Wellesley ABC. So now we're at the 50th anniversary, so we thought it would be a really good chance to have a conversation. And already at the brunch that we had at the ABC House, we had a really good conversation about things that we thought that it would be great for the current students and for teachers to know about. So we hope that, well, Mia is here, who's a current student, and you're a senior, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And so maybe, I think what's going to happen is we'll have everybody go around the table and introduce themselves. And the people at the table here are all ABC alumni or current students, and everybody else that's sitting over here are either teachers or ABC volunteers, and we are all interested in what you have to say about your experience, but we feel like you guys should be the ones that are talking and not us, so that we're just here to sort of learn. So, okay, so Andrea Robinson Petaway. I did it again. I changed my name when I got married, so it was a real pain in the neck. So anyway, Andrea Petaway is going to start us off, and also Denise Marsh is going to help facilitate the conversation. And so anyway, you can take it away.
Awesome. And maybe we could just do a quick round
Yes.
table really quickly. So I'm Andrea Petaway, class of '88. It was a special class for me because we've just, even to this day, we're all so connected, like very, very connected. And I've been to my 5, 10, 15, 20th high school reunion, and it's all been great. So it's a really close class. I currently reside in Chicago. I work in HR for McDonald's Corporation, which is pretty cool working for the Golden Arches because you can find McDonald's anywhere. Best fries. And yeah, I'm just happy to be here. I'm thrilled to be, just reconnecting with my ABC sisters, meeting the new sisters, and it's just a reminder of, goodness, just to even have our shared experiences this morning, that there will always be a connection. So I'm just honored to be here. So, can you kick it off to you, Omara?
All right, thank you. My name is Omira Morero Person, class of 1990, originally from the South Bronx, and after graduating from Wellesley in 1990, I went to Columbia. After Columbia, I started working on Wall Street, on investment banking, did that for a couple of years. Then from there, I made the jump to the tech side of things and sort of joined financial technology before it was financial technology 25 years ago. And been in that industry ever since, and haven't really been back to Wellesley in a long time. So it's very interesting to see a new school, a new house, and it's just very exciting. But it was a very special 4 years for sure, and really, really amazing.
I'm Mia Phillips. I'm a graduating senior this year. I'm from Central Jersey. I don't really have any experiences. Yeah, maybe in a few years.
Wait, what am I saying?
Yeah. Who you are and when you graduated, and where you are now.
My name is Maddie Stith. I graduated in the year 2022. I'm currently attending Mount Holyoke College, which is quite around 2 hours away from here. So yeah, it's my top school, so I'm very happy to do it.
Awesome.
And yeah, I think that's it. So,
I'm Rebecca Vasquez. I was the first graduate of the Wellesley ABC program.
yeah.
Happy to be here. I haven't been back to Wellesley in a very long time, so it's amazing to come back, see new students, meet all these, amazing alumni, and the new alumni, like you, meeting all the volunteers and stuff. It's energized me. After Wellesley, I went to Wesleyan University, and then I started a career at HBO, and I just celebrated my 40th year working at HBO, and I'm getting ready to retire next month. So from there, I hope to become a little bit more involved, with the Wellesley ABC program in whatever capacity I can fit as a volunteer.
Hi, I'm Denise Marsh. I graduated from Wellesley in 1981. I've been back a couple of times, but not really to Wellesley, but not to the high school. So it's really surreal to be back in my high school, even though it's not the same building. When I graduated, I went on to Cornell University, got my engineering degree, worked in that for a few years, and then went to Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland and got my MBA. And then I have worked in so many different places. I did not stay in one spot. But what that taught me was that I don't like working for people. So I am the ultimate entrepreneur. So I own 3 businesses right now. They're family businesses. So my entire family, my husband, my daughter, her husband, we all work these businesses. So it's all or nothing. Either we sink or swim, all together. That's what I tell everybody. So, but anyway, I want to say that I'm just really glad to be here, meeting my sisters, and I'm anxious to talk to you and just hear your experiences, because I think that what we share is something very unique and very amazing, and we should be really proud of what we've accomplished, because as someone told me a long time ago, not many young people can leave their home and go and live somewhere and still keep up their grades and really get involved in the school and all the other things that's around them, and make it work. And so you should really be applauding yourselves for doing that.
All right, so I will kick it off with a question. I just feel like it's organic, just after the intros, but just even kicking it off with initially some of the highs and lows of coming into the program. I know we all left at 13, 14 from, Brooklyn, Bronx, in different areas, and then coming right into Wellesley, right? So just want to open it up to just speak to what were, a few of the highs and then just some of the lows of coming in initially. Anyone can jump in?
Sure. For me personally, obviously leaving my family behind was really tough. And I had a 2-year-old sister, and so it was really, really tough. Because I was thinking, is she going to remember me when I come back home? So that was tough. Coming here, to Wellesley it was also very challenging in terms of I found it, you were out of place, almost, right? And it was a challenging transition. But that being said, I think that the connections that were made, the experiences that I had because of this have been were amazing. So I would say those would be my highs and lows.
Yeah.
I would have to say the same thing, sort of like coming into a totally different, coming from an urban community, going into a suburban community, and sort of like everything is just different. But we always had home, the house was our home, and that's what made, for me, make a difference. That it was a family that embraced me, that knew who I was, knew where I came from, and I had shared experiences with my sisters as well too. So it was, for me, the house became a refuge, sort of like, felt that was that safe space, where we could be ourselves and be accepted.
Yeah. And how about me or Mandy? Any?
Yeah, I agree with that, especially but even with being in the school, and sometimes things can be difficult, especially since this is a very white and wealthy town. I think that does make up for it, being able to go back to the house and having shared experiences with the rest of the girls, because it's comforting.
Yeah. I know when I first heard of the ABC program when I was in Brooklyn, I was just like, oh, I'm leaving home, going away. And I remember when my mom drove away, I had a meltdown. I got on the payphone, because yes, we had a payphone. And I was like, tell the high school in Brooklyn to come back. Because I was just like, it was so hard. I didn't realize how homesick I was. But it was, like you said, Rebecca, just a refuge, like the resident directors in the house, and just saying, hey, and having the shared experiences, and just saying, hey, get involved with us, you know? And for me, you know, when I came in, I felt embraced, right? It was like, Wellesley ABC was just really embraced in high school, from my experience. It was just, oh, you're in the ABC program. Well, get involved in this, get involved in that. I mean, once I did that, the highs for me was just like getting involved in different things and building that community inside the school as well. And then coming back. But I think the homesickness was just a lot. I didn't realize how much, that was going to affect me. But getting involved right away was amazing. It was just, it took probably about a month in, and then I started easing in. So.
I think for me, like the highs was like the support I got from within the house, just like aside from like other people in the program, like both like academically, just like emotionally and everything, because I feel like that will help me just get through. I keep myself sophomore year, so 3 years that I'm here. I say the goals, I guess. So it was just like coming here as a sophomore. I didn't have like the buddy, like I didn't have like a sophomore, like second year on my own, and then it was like a senior in the year, and it was just hard to deal with each other, and I was like kind of there. I was like the youngest, and I was there, and it was a hard adjustment. And it felt like a little, like, you know, it was just a hard adjustment to like be in the house a little bit, because I was like only one
Yeah, that's interesting, because it's always like a pair up, so you can just kind of like lock arms. Yeah. Did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I can add a little. I mean, so I'm how year did you come in?
85.
Okay.
I came in as a sophomore as well.
Okay, so I came in 78, so it was a little bit different. I call us we are the transition group, because it was because of our group that the program went down to 6 girls instead of 8. Okay, we had a resident tutor that year because we went down to 8. Then we had an extra room, so we could then have a tutor and a cook. So it was a lot of transition. At one point, we did not have any resident directors, and then we went through resident directors. Like people would come and say, "Yeah, we want to do it," and they would try it and say, "No, this is too much." So I mean, I want to say that was kind of part of my lows. So it was just such a years of transition. We weren't. I would say that we weren't as involved as you guys talked about being involved. We weren't as involved in the school. I feel like we weren't accepted in the school. So it was difficult for us to be, doing things. I mean, while I was there, the first black cheerleader she was a senior. I mean, she was from the ABC program. And we had a race riot. I was talking to the other young ladies, and there was a race riot in the school, that year, where some kids got into a fight, and basically took, decided every black kid in here were going to beat them up, and it was horrible. So I mean, my years were, it was different because it was a lot of transition. But what I can say is that the program, the girls in the program, we are all still very tight. We lost one. She died a few years ago. We all came to see her before she died, so I'm really thankful that we were able to do that. But I don't have any sisters, but these are my sisters. You know what I'm saying? I learned, when I think about some of the most important lessons I learned growing up, besides my mom teaching me, I learned them through the young women in the ABC program. I learned how to put makeup on. Okay? I learned, I'm serious. I went on my first date during that time. So all of these things is different. It's not just about the school. It was about this whole home life. I learned, I mean, I could go on and on. But anyway, I just feel like this was what transformed me into the person that I am now. So I'm very thankful.
And as difficult as some of those experiences have been, going back home was also difficult.
Yes.
Correct.
Oh,
because
that's
you didn't
true.
quite fit in.
Correct.
You know, and I remember I'd go back home and it'd have like ripped jeans and stuff, and my mother would be like, "Oh God, embarrassing." And I was like, "No, but that's because it's parent, you know." Or like, you know, my middle school friends were having babies, and they were so impressed that I was a sophomore in high school. So it was tough, and you know, going back to the Bronx in the 1980s and 1990s, right, when sort of like what was going on in our neighborhoods back then, it was tough, and there was nobody to connect to, right? So it was like my sisters, right? It was like Daisy, like, but you guys knew, like,
Yes.
so it was just, you know, so it was like you don't quite belong over here, you don't quite belong over here, but that house is always that central place.
That's so true, Myron. Thanks for bringing that up, because there was that struggle going back home. Why are you talking like that? Why are you, where are you going? Why are you wearing these, And I'm like, and then I'd start like trying to be my old self again, from Brooklyn, and because I want to fit in with my friends and I don't want to lose this group of friends. It's like I didn't know where I fit in at that time. So that was coming back was hard. And each year it was different, and then you do something and you go off and do something else, through the Wellesley ABC program, which afforded us so many amazing opportunities. And you come back and you're like, you have new friends, like you don't know us anymore. So it was really a struggle. So
But that's why college was
yeah,
amazing, right? Because it was high school years were tough, but then college is just
You will, I would say, better prepared, better prepared because of the Wellesley ABC experience. Yeah, and for me, going home, it's funny because, I would go home and then my mom would always cook my favorite dishes. And so my other sisters were always jealous because
Yes.
why are you doing that different? Because I only spent 2 years, because I came in as a junior. And so, I would agree with you that in terms of becoming more involved with the school, didn't really have that opportunity, to do that. And I wasn't really much into the athletics, so I didn't, play any sports or anything like that. And so, and I've never been back for a high school reunion, you've been back for a high school reunion. But again, those years were so formative, and they leave the imprint on you that helps you and guides you as you go forward, And so, take this opportunity and look at this opportunity because it is a wonderful opportunity, and be proud because you have been selected to be in this very special program, okay? And so it's an honor, to be here. And the Wellesley community should be honored that you are in the community and that you have accepted to come here and be part of the community. And it's something that benefits everybody. You're not only benefiting, but they are benefiting you from you as well too. Because again, everybody has to embrace each other to be part of the same community. Because especially when we look at the world that we live in now, You know, it's just, you know, it's so much infighting. So it's so important to basically, for everybody to embrace, and to embrace us, embrace the scholars, you know. Again, it's a two-way street.
It definitely is. That's a really good point. I mean, like you said, it's learning from each other. I think growing up, and a lot of us grew up in melting pots, you know, I think that's New York City. It's, you know, I know my block was just every different culture. I always said Spike Lee got it right in his movies, because it would literally, you know, a Polish restaurant here, a kosher restaurant here. I mean, that's how I grew up. So coming to Wellesley, it was, yes, it was different, but I felt like, okay, I can adapt. I can, but I didn't realize also how many students who were very sheltered. So it was, and I think I shared this with some of my ABC sisters, it was like my first week at Wellesley, they found out, some students found out I was from New York, and they were like, oh my gosh, do you carry a gun? Do you take drugs? And I'm like, what? Like, but it wasn't in a malicious way. It was more of, this is what we saw, this is what we knew. You're from the inner city, you must do this, you must do that. And it was educating, and just having conversations like this, and saying that, no, not everyone from New York does that, you know? And it was a continuous education, which was just made the bond even stronger, even now, you know, so. I wanted to say, oh, do you want to say that?
Yeah. So, like, my neighborhood, it was 99% Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
And I had no idea about how people lived outside of my neighborhood, none. And so when I first came to Wellesley, I was like, oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
are you serious? Like, people live like this? This is amazing. And so it was very different for me in terms of like adjusting culturally, right? And being an American, right? But like living in this subculture, right? And adapting and finding my way. I mean, it's just very, very challenging.
Yeah.
From that perspective.
Interesting, yeah. Yeah. Definitely, I can totally see that, because, you know, to your point, like, there are different neighborhoods within the city where it's just, you just see yourself. And that's why, you know, just thinking about the experience coming into Wellesley, it's like, for me, it was just like, oh, I grew up with all different cultures, you know, so it has slightly different impact on how I kind of viewed people. Yes, I remember going into like a 5-story house, and I was like, this is amazing, like, really? And, you know, kids driving amazing cars and different things like, so from that aspect. But to your point, just really, if you grew up in a community where all you saw were, you know, people like yourselves.
Yeah.
And it is,
I had no concept, right? I thought that we, you know, that we lived well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
But, you know, I lived in a 5-story walk-up.
yeah.
And, you know, we were very poor, and I just had no concept of that, no awareness. So it was very eye-opening.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, I just remember back then, I watched the Cosby Show. That was like, we loved the Cosby Show, right? Because there was this family, and they were living this life that, you know, that we didn't see anyone else living. But so it was really impactful.
So I want to segue into host families, and just getting, I know each one of us, for us, you know, we were placed with a host family one weekend a month. We spent time, and just wanted to open it up, like some of the, just hear some of your challenges, or maybe no challenges, like just your story with how did, you know, leaving a family, coming into a new town, but then being, you know, placed with another family in different scenarios. You know, you may have host siblings or different things like that. So just want to open up to hear about the relationship and how that kicked off for you. Maybe, Mandy? We made eye contact, so.
I just wish host families like
Really?
It wasn't like anything bad, it was just like circumstances of not being able to commit to like, I don't know, no vendetta against anyone, you know, it was just like, yeah. But, I mean, it was a little difficult having to switch them a few times because, you know, like get attached and they just kind of, like, you have to go. I stay in contact with them, it's just like, it's a little bit difficult, but I'm a mom, Deborah, and Peter, and, they were very supportive, like, it was just like a relationship and have to switch, but I mean, like, Deborah and Peter are very supportive, they were very supportive to me throughout, like, especially, like, last year was very rough time. They were supportive, like, to me throughout that entire time, and I'm very grateful that they were able to take me in, honestly, as like, host child, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I had, like, a rough start, but I had, like, a good ending.
Awesome.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, I agree with Maddie. I really like my host parents as well. I think that it's a great support, even when you need to like get away. Because I mean, being in a house with like 5 other girls sometimes can be like a lot. So it's nice to go to my host parents for a weekend and just chill. And, you know, she works. My host mom works in the school, so if I see her, she'll say hi. It's a nice connection to have. Especially when you can feel like alienated from like the people in the school. It's nice to have like a family you can stay with. Yeah, kind of like your parents in Wellesley.
I think host parents, the connection that I've made with my host parents, yes, they were very important while we were in the program, but I think it's after the program that my host family really came through. It's tough. You leave, you have this support environment, which is amazing, and then you go to college. There's nobody. And I was the first person to go to college in my family. My parents didn't know, like nobody knew, but my host parents, they were like there. Sorry, I'm too emotional, but.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love my host parents. I mean, you know, like Amira said, it's just, I'm just grateful for my host mom, my host dad, my host brother, my host sister, who, you know, my host sister's daughters were my little flower girls. They're my second family, and I just feel so supported by them. And like you said, afterwards, where, look, sometimes I know from experience, you know, you have a plan for your life, and it takes a detour, and it's not the end of the world, but it's a little bit harder. So I had some lows in life, and through it all, you know, yeah, you have your parents and your family, but my host parents were always there, and you would never know how much that has meant, and how much I treasure them, and how they're family. I hate even using host family now, because I always, you know, I still say Mr. or Mrs. Potts, you know, and I can't say Jeanette or George. They're like, you know, you can call me Jeanette. No, Mr. or Mrs. Potts, sorry. But they're, yeah, to your point, just a really, really important part of my life.
I had a different experience.
Yes.
Not that I had bad host parents, I really didn't, but I came into the program late. So I think because of it, they were asked to be host parents before they were ever told or it like explained to them what it meant. So, I mean, I really didn't really have a huge bond with them or their children. But like I said, they were nice, and I've actually visited them, you know, at least, you know, if I come back to Wellesley, I have come to see them. And my host mother is now deceased. So, you know, but we've talked multiple times before that happened. So, but I just feel like for whatever reason, they were just kind of like, we need to get a host family for this girl. She's coming. I literally came here between the time I heard about being offered and the time I came, it was 3 weeks. So they had to find host parents for me. In fact, when I came here, you know, I flew in from Cleveland. Normally, I guess back then, the host family usually came to the airport to pick you up. I didn't have a host family yet. They hadn't found one yet. So when they found them, they were, I mean, they were nice, but they were just kind of clueless of what to do. Like, we didn't really do anything. They would, you know, I'd come over for the weekend and I'd basically be in the room doing my homework. I might eat dinner or whatever, but I really didn't have a connection with them. And the kids, I'm almost positive they had never seen a black person ever. Okay? I mean, their daughter, I mean, many times asked me, do you wash your hair ever? Or do you, you know, why do you put grease on your hair? Or, you know, what are you doing? I mean, so it was just and I mean, she was innocent and I had to explain things to her, but it was just weird. So I almost think they need a class. And I don't know what happens now, but I almost think that if you're about to be host parents, I think that there needs to be something. Someone needs to sit you down and say, hey, this is what the commitment is. This is what, you know, we are expecting, because I didn't have what you had. So, but that's okay.
Yeah, and that's fine, yeah. It's different dynamics.
I still, yeah. And my family dynamic was different because I didn't come from, like, my brother was already in college, you know, and so, I mean, I had help, like, you know, at least family members that kind of knew, and I, you know, and I didn't come from the poorest background. Like, my family owned a home, and I remember that my host family was like, "Oh, you live in a house?" And I'm like, yeah, I do." You know, I mean, it was just weird. So.
Yeah, it's education for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I just, you know, I think back to when I went on EFS and I was gonna go live with a family. I didn't know what family, and I was going to France. And one of the things they said is, you know, sometimes you'll go to a different country and, okay, take, you know, your money. At that time it was traveler's checks. It was like, we're never gonna get traveler's checks. But they said take out only $150 in traveler's checks because you never know, like, you don't want to be, you could be placed with a family on a farm. And in order for you to, like, immerse yourself in the culture, you don't want to say, okay, I have all this money, more money than you have, and I'll go buy souvenirs. But it was just that preparation of, you don't know what kind of family dynamic that you're going to be going into, and be prepared for that and open to that and just be mindful of that. So I just thought about that when, you know, saying even in situations like that, to just, you just don't know, and just seek to understand, right, and ask the question, so.
Now, I had my host family, they had 3 daughters, and the eldest was in the same grade as I was. And so, no, we had a good relationship. I remember the first time I went out to Cape Cod was with them. The weekend, we went sailing, you know, so being exposed to all of those activities was great and again, memorable, you know, still remember them. And in terms of any kind of contact after I graduated, the mother, Carol Tasha, she would reach out to me, you know, every once in a while. But yeah, I mean, there was no other contact,
Yeah.
you know, anything formal or informal, you know.
Yeah.
But it was a great experience, and
Yeah.
as I was explaining to you ladies earlier, so like the first time that I had Yankee pot roast was my house family. So.
Steamed artichokes with lemon butter.
Yeah.
That was mine, so.
The different foods.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So I'm gonna kick it off to another, just kind of maybe be us speaking to the young women here who are now, like, you're an alumni now, official, and just how is ABC present day, here we are, where we are right now, do you feel, I mean, do you still think about it? Does it affect you in your day-to-day meeting? You know, one of the things that I wanted to speak to tonight, like even later on when, was just the concept of being an ally, right? And I remember when 2020 happened, it was such an emotional year in so many different ways. And everyone, you know, I had friends, specifically white friends, who would send me a text and say, oh my gosh, I'm an ally, I have your back, whatever you need, right? And then I never heard from them again, that type of thing, because it was more of an, I knew the intention was good, right? It was just such an emotional time that they wanted to know that, look, no matter what's going on, you have the support as an ally. But when I think about the ABC program, what an opportunity. I mean, that's allyship, right? Just being an advocate and standing in the gap for, when it comes to education and things, and having that wealth of that education. So I just see that, just the trickles of it even now in the career, having a seat at the table as a woman of color, and having that confidence, right? Where does that come from? It stemmed from being called a Lady of Excellence in the ABC house. Thinking about an ally, I think about Wellesley ABC. Like, I see a lot of, my experiences back then in real time. So that's a mouthful. I wanted to throw it out here, just saying, how have you seen it affected, whether it's work, home? I know I felt when my boys were in high school, I was their guidance counselor, because I was just like, yeah, no. I remember going to a PTA meeting, and the teacher said to me, he's like, your son's doing really well. He's getting a C. He's good. And I sat there like, I felt chills come through me, and I said, I remember being in the ABC house. We were on academic probation if we had a B minus. That was academic probation. And I wanted to scream, but I said, yeah, no, a C is that's beyond academic probation in our house. But it was just letting them know, like, first I thought, man, is that what you expect from my son? And here's, had to stand in the gap and be an advocate. So where did I learn that from? Being in the ABC program, being challenged, knowing the foundation that was expected of me, and I carried that on to my sons. And I was, from 9th through 12th, I was front and center, looked at the classes, had that parent-teacher contact. Why? Because of the ABC program. So, sorry for the mouthful, I know I threw it out there, but I see a lot of just the blessing of this program just carried me throughout life. So, wanted to just open up to see how that's impacted you all.
For me, it was the power of public education. This is a public high school.
Yeah.
Okay. And so for me, it was the power of public education. And for our daughter, she always went to public school.
Yeah.
But I became very involved, okay, making sure that the teachers and administrators, were on top of things. And then became involved with the PTO. And then from the PTO, I was like, you know what, I should be on the school board. And I ran for the school board, and I sat on the school board for 12 years, okay, because I saw the power of public education and making sure that it was not just my daughter, it was our community, and making sure that the needs of the community were met. Sometimes when you're talking about school boards, it was an elected position, but they see it as a stepping stone to get into politics. And for me, it wasn't about that. It was about, we have resources, we have to make sure that the town resources are used to further public education for our students. And so for me, that comes from my experience here at Wellesley. Again, the power of public education.
Yeah, I like that. Absolutely.
Well, I feel like for me, I realized that I didn't have to accept what was, what this little mold that people had for me. So, think about this. I mean, in the 70s, and it was difficult. I wanted to be in the sciences, and so I wanted to be an engineer. And I remember, I'd be the only one in the advanced, chemistry class, the only, one of the few women in this class or whatever. But I feel like because I knew how to speak up for myself, I really, I was empowered. I felt empowered. That's a good word.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went to Cornell, it was super hard. Okay, I'm not even going to joke with you. It was hard. Not that I wasn't prepared, but when you go to college, imagine that you're in school with very bright people, but everybody is not going to be able to graduate, and that's what I was told. So I had to figure out, how do I navigate this school and this career choice I made and what I needed to do. And I even left school for a year. And I remember my mom was so nervous. My mother and father were like, oh my gosh, is she going back? My mother for Christmas gave me a plaque saying, don't quit. I have it at the foot of my bed right now. Every time I think of quitting something, and believe me, I have those thoughts a lot, I look at that plaque. My point is that this program helped me understand how important my voice is. And so I didn't take no for an answer. When a professor said, example, real quick, I almost flunked one of my physics classes, because at that point I had to take 3 physics classes, and I was not good at physics, and I almost flunked, and I knew I needed this class. I went to the professor and I was like, look, I need this class. I can't flunk it. I don't have any money to pay for another round of this. I'll study, give me a week. I'll do an oral exam, okay? And he looked at me like, are you crazy? I'm like, no, I'm serious. I need this class. I just feel like I just didn't take no for an answer for anything. And I feel like you guys have this opportunity. You were selected from a lot of other people could have been here, but God put you here for a reason. Don't let anybody make light of that, and don't take no for an answer. And that's what I learned from this. That's what I learned. And my daughter is here with me. My whole family is here. And if you have a chance to talk to her, you'll know. Because I'm like you. I was in the school with her, and they were saying, oh, well, Mrs. Marsh, Taylor, she'd be good at, this school or this school. And I was like, no. No. This is what we're doing. Well, no other kid applied to that school. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I know how to do an application. I know what she needs to do. Don't tell me she can't go to this school. That's where she wants to go. We're gonna make it happen. Okay? And that's, it just, your experience here is going to snowball into your whole life, like you said. 41 years later, after graduating, I'm still feeling the power of this. It's crazy.
Amazing program. I love Wellesley ABC.
I do too.
I really, 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 really do. And it's overwhelming. It's just such a great, and it can even get better as the years go by, I'm just thinking, I went to school before social media, just to think about that and know, I couldn't Google anything, we were talking about that today. We had to go to the library and do research and check library books out and things like that, but I think that, I always say it's a blessing and a curse, right? Social media, it's the great part of it is, it's just this program is such an opportunity to network and just be amplified, because you all are ladies of excellence, right? And just being here is just in Wellesley, where for me personally, I felt really included and embraced, and students and my peers asked questions, right? And I think back to that time, it was just some questions where today, sometimes it's good to ask the uncomfortable questions. That's how we get to a good place, ask the uncomfortable questions. And I think I was blessed for those years that I did have peers who did that, and it was okay Even now, recently, I have some of my high school friends, and we're all connected, like, on social media, and they're like, Andrea, I'm just thinking, like, you left at 14, like, they're asking questions now. And they're like, how is that for you? You know, like, I never asked you in high school, and I'm like, it's okay, you're asking now, and let's talk about it, you know, so, it is a powerful program. Oh my God, let you.
Yeah, no, I think, you know, what I learned and what I continue is to remember to stay hungry. I mean, I think that it's one of these things that will take you, that you learn now, and it will take you for the rest of your life. So just stay hungry. And that'll take you to the next step.
I'm making that into a t-shirt. I like that. No, that's awesome.
Andrea, can I interrupt for 1 second? Yeah. I just wanted to say that we have about half an hour left that we were supposed to be here. We don't have to be here for another half hour if anybody has to go. But also, I don't want to embarrass anyone, but since you weren't introduced to some of the students, we have 2 current BBC students that arrived, and they want to participate in the conversation. Courtney and so Courtney is back there. She's a 9th grader that's just started here at Wellesley School. Hi, and Leah is a junior. Raise your hand, Leah. Okay. So anyway, I just wanted you to know who they were in case you wanted to include them.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry to
Thank you.
interrupt.
No, you're good. And I'm just going to open it up. Ladies, if there's,
Great, questions, right?
yeah, any questions, yeah.
From students, parents,
Yeah.
volunteers.
You know, I'm Courtney's grandma, and, you know, and we had a hard time, you know, trying to decide we wanted her to, you know, come this distance. But after going through and talking to other family, we were just saying it was such a great opportunity. And like you were saying about, like I was talking, I said, never give up, and if it's something you don't know, ask. Because somebody else might have the same question, but they'd be afraid to ask. And don't try everything, I say, because you know what, if it don't work out with this, then try something else, but stay here and just keep pulling at something until you choose what you want to do. You know, because this is a great opportunity. I say, we miss her, but you know what, the thing is with the social media and everything going on with technology, it's just like you really being at home. It's just your body not there, but you can communicate, you know, and a lot of times, what you doing? She said, I'm trying to do that so you know it's going to make you be a better person. And like she always tells me, you're strong. A black woman, I said, but you're going to be even stronger because you have a lot of new opportunities for you now that didn't help for me. So never give up. And, you know, she met new friends, and she was afraid of leaving her friends behind. Girl, you're going to get new friends because a lot of times we have those from elementary school. We get in high school, we remember those more because, you know, you got more mature. And you keep in touch, you know, with each other. And then maybe some of you might go to college and become like sisters. Because that's what I'm thinking with her. I said, you know what, you're going to get new sisters. And you're going to get a new mother. You know, and the people that she works with, it's like a mother, you got a big sister, and you got all these other sisters. I said, you're going to learn a lot. And you're going to, before you know it, I'm not saying you're going to forget where you came from, and your friends there. I said, but you're going to be able to go back, like the holiday time, and explain to them, oh, but I'm having such a great time. And now I'm stronger. And they can tell from a conversation that she's going to become a stronger person. You know, you're not going to be that person that, you know, this is okay and that's okay, because she's always been outspoken and good with speeches and writing things, you know, and getting an opportunity to meet people and people come into her life. I said, so it's an opportunity for you to even meet more people, because I believe this is going to be an experience that's going to make her even higher up and raise even higher than what she is capable of doing. So I'm just so excited for her to be here, you know, to represent the family. I said, you're going to be the first one to maybe become that doctor or that lawyer, because you're going to have that foundation, you know. So I'm just happy that you guys gave her an opportunity, that she could, you know, do her best, and I know she is because she's always a hard worker, but to help pull it, because sometimes we need that little push to bring it out, and I think that's what they're going to be doing here for her. So far, that's what I see, because she is so excited now. One while she was like, oh, I don't know, but now she was so excited. I'm going to do this for my junior year. I'm going to go to college here. So already you guys have opened her eyes to things that she's capable of becoming or getting in life. So I just want to applaud you guys for that. Thank you so much.
I have a question. I would like to know from any alumni, how do you think you could help contribute to the experience of the current students? Like what tangible ways, you know? Some of you know that we've tried to do alumni connections like Zoom during COVID or, you know, some of us have talked about, you know, what we do for a living, how we could be mentors, but can you think of like concrete ways or any ideas? Because we would welcome that. You know, we don't have to solve it now, but.
Any thoughts? I think, I'll just throw it out there, I think it would be important too, like, to find out from the ladies just what, like, there's mentorship, like, hey, like, even if it's quarterly, like, connecting, that's the first thing I can think of, but understanding, like, what, you know, what can we tap into, that would be helpful to you? Would it be something like, hey, like a quarterly check-in, or,
Like a buddy program.
yeah, but just making sure, you know, I mean, I'd be totally open to doing things like that, but making sure that fits into your world, you know, and everything that's going on with you, you know, because I want to be mindful. I mean, those are things, because I know it's a lot, you know, between studying and different things, but making sure that we insert ourselves in ways that would be helpful to you. I don't know.
I think that's really important, right? Because I think one of the things that I think as women and women of color, right, we need to be able to ask for help whenever we need it. So ask for it, right? So I think that's important, right? Like if there's a connection, you know, just to kind of talk about it, just to talk the experience, even after graduating, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is even more important. I think that we need to network more,
Mhm.
and the importance of networking is, I mean,
That's
you know,
huge.
It's
Yeah.
huge.
It'd be like a mentorship program, you know, you see like fraternities and sororities do it, right? That network is strong, like, can we do something similar with Wellesley ABC?
Yeah, I think that might be like the best way to do it, because actually last year, I don't think it went so well, to be totally honest. You know, it wasn't really well received when we did meetings, because they're very busy and
Mhm.
they don't really have time to deal with more women giving them advice. You know, they already have all
Right.
volunteers doing that.
Lots of resources.
But you know, when you get older, you realize that you need to. Maddie's going to ask a question. When you get older, like my kids are in college and beyond, they realize that they need to have some connections to get internships and jobs and so
That's right.
forth, and so that could be where.
I say my question is comment. My question is, aside from like events like these, because they won't, I don't think they're not gonna happen all the time. Like, what is the best way to network and connect with like alumni ABC? And another thing, also, is just like I do agree, kind of what Deborah is saying, in the sense of like I feel like when you're young and you're just getting here, like I'm not saying, I mean, you're just adjusting to high school. You're trying to adjust to the environment. So I feel like freshmen and sophomores are not really gonna see the value in having alumni, honestly, partners. But I think as you enter your junior and senior year, maybe more your senior, because I feel like junior is a lot. Your senior year and moving forward, I feel like there is more value in that, and I feel like if there were to be a system of connecting, I think it would be better to focus on upperclassmen instead of lowerclassmen, because I feel like lowerclassmen need that space to just adjust, and I feel like upperclassmen,
That's a good
as they're looking
I think
ahead,
that's a good
like they're looking ahead towards where you are. So I feel like it doesn't make sense to have like younger people looking into like their college years when they're just trying to look
Right,
forward into
when they're
high
trying to
school.
adjust.
Yeah. But also, yeah, I just don't. My other first question is like, how, I don't know, like connecting. It's just like it's an awkward thing to think about. It's just like it's a little intimidating. At least in my case, especially I'm just entering high school. I mean, I just entering college. To just be like connecting with like alumni. I don't know what that looks like or how to approach it, or honestly where to connect with people in the situation. So yeah.
I love that, because I think networking is something that's really difficult to do for a lot of people, because it's like, you feel like you need to be best friends with somebody before you can like reach out to them. No. Networking is about leveraging individuals' connections and helping them help you, right? It's absolutely fine, and I think everyone understands that. So if you have a LinkedIn account, look me up. We'll connect. You can see my work experience, you can see where I went to college, you can see my connections, and if I can help in any way, just throw me a note, right? And say, hey, and that's how networking, that's the definition of networking, right? You don't have to be best friends with somebody to then, because then by that token, then we never reach out to anyone. And I think that's really, really important, because I think the value of networking is not shared broadly enough. And I think that, that I can speak from experience myself. It's like I wasn't until recently when I was like, you know what, I need to grow my LinkedIn profile and like my connections, and because you never know when you're going to need to just kind of say hello to people or get connected. So if you guys have a LinkedIn account, look me up, we'll connect. Same thing.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. And then
as
I reached out to you. Yeah.
Just follow up on that, is there, I think from what I've heard from Deborah, is that the alumni have their own Facebook group? Is there somebody who like leads it or monitors or could use that to reach out to them to let them know, like, this is the group, if you need us, here's, feel free to reach out to us so they don't have to track everyone down through LinkedIn or?
We can try that, but you know what happened with Facebook? Something happened like in the last 5 years. Like maybe it was because people didn't like Facebook like anymore. Like kids don't use it anymore. Nobody likes some of the things that they've done, and like there's less and less people. There's like 60 alumni in the alumni Facebook group, but nobody looks, like only 10 look at my posts anymore.
I didn't even know what alumni Facebook group
I was just thinking if there was like a centralized form of, where it's easier for the younger guys to find you guys when they're in college. I'm not sure what
Well, it's Instagram for the younger kids and LinkedIn for the college students.
Yeah.
Don't you have to be a certain age to do LinkedIn?
Not at all.
No, not at all.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm on LinkedIn a lot.
Yeah.
So like to your point.
ability to create a group.
You're not.
So that might be the way to do it then.
Yeah.
That's how I do it again.
Yeah. I know.
It's like,
Yeah, I think there's a centralized place for like imagine one.
That's how you leverage your. Yeah, absolutely.
I have a question, actually. I have a question for the current scholars. I want to know, how do you feel the school perceives you? Like, what does that look like for you? How does it feel? Are you happy? Do you feel embarrassed? What do you feel?
I feel like that's a hard question to answer because I'm not gonna lie, like there is struggles with like the students in the school and with us and like finding a connection or feeling like you're a part of the community because they're like very different, even in the way that like, I don't know, I just feel like say I'm in my English class I'm taking right now, Diverse American Voices, where we study diverse literature, but half the class is black and then half the class is white. And like in that setting, I feel like it's hard to have discussions about race or certain sources that we like look into because people are just, like you said, like they never like are around black people that much or just people of color, so they're, I don't want to say ignorant, but it's just like clueless about certain things. So I feel like it can be hard. I guess that the school perceives us as, I don't know, I think that a lot of people think it's like a charitable thing, and like they look at us like that we're beneath them because we're in their school and we're using their resources and people are donating and doing all these things. And like, I don't think we're taking up space, but I think there is kind of an animosity there. But there are other students who don't like think like that, so that helps. But I think the community in the house makes a big difference.
Anybody else? Do you want to say something?
I think Mia hit everything, but it's also like, it's very different because I feel like it's also like we're not wearing a name tag that's like, I'm Wellesley ABC, but then there's like little moments where it's like, oh, you don't have a ride to this, why can't your parents take you? And then there's the whole explaining and not understanding, or understanding it and thinking it's because we're like less than them, and so there's like that struggle.
Okay. You want to say something?
I kind of feel,
so far I haven't encountered any people that I thought I was gonna encounter, like someone that's just like I can tell that they're not too fond of my skin color or anything like that. But I also haven't been here that long, and I understand that those people do exist and those people do go to this school. I just haven't encountered or had any you know, situations with that. But I do feel like the only thing that scares me about the school is how they already had their education. Like, I come from a school where certain things we learned, certain things we didn't learn, and then the education that we get here is certain stuff that's based off the middle school. And so I have to learn that plus the stuff that we're learning at school. So I'm very grade oriented. So I understand that if I get anything below a certain grade level, I'm panicking. And so I also want to like be able to do things. I want to be able to like go to extracurricular activities. I want to be able to do this and I want to be able to do that. But if my schedule is so education wise, it's just like a lot in my head. So yeah, kind of stressful for right now. But yeah.
Because I have an opinion. I always have an opinion. You'll learn that about.
I just want to just say one thing, just so with you, I relate to the gap. When I was a junior, I was taking Algebra 1 because I had to, because I couldn't go further, and I was so embarrassed. I was in a class with just freshmen, and I was a junior, and I was like, I can't believe this. That I would just sit, but to your point, I relate to that, so.
I guess I'm going to say this to the people within the community, and that includes the volunteers and the people on the board and the people in the administration. I feel it's your job to make what they're saying, like, to fix it or try to. It's your job, because you guys agreed to bring these kids here. And it's not fair to them if they're feeling like that and nothing is being done. I think that, number one, there needs to be awareness, okay? Everybody needs to understand what ABC, Wellesley ABC is, why it exists, what kinds of strides these kids make after they go on to college. If people don't know why people are here or why this program exists, that's when people, ignorance breeds, negativity. When people don't understand something, that's when they make you feel bad, okay? You have no reason to feel bad because you did what most of these people couldn't do, okay? Honestly, most people in this school probably couldn't leave their family, their secure family, and go off at age 15, 16 and live and thrive the way you've done. So you have every reason to be proud. And I feel like it's not the job of the scholars to be like the education for the community. It's your job. You are here. You should be telling your friends, hey, we got this great group of kids in the school, and here's why they're so great. And you guys need to make this so that all the teachers know why these kids are here, and all the parents know why these kids are here. I mean, it's unthinkable that we walked through this whole school today. Not one time did I see anything that said anything about ABC program. Not once. I saw stuff about Medco multiple times. That's a problem.
Can I I just have a comment. I was president the last 3 years, which I'm doing coaching coordinator, but I also was a host family with my fifth daughter still. She's 32. Now,
And her name is Amy Bailey.
Oh, it's Amy Bailey, yes. One issue that we've been struggling with is when we have an issue with the current scholars at the time throughout the years don't like us advertising at the school, and we've come to realize, and it's made it difficult advertise. So we were specifically, basically asked not to, by the scholars, advertise in the program because they don't want to be singled out as being different or not. So we have felt a little bit of this tension between advertising but respecting their privacy so that they're not singled out as being different. I don't know if you have any suggestions.
Well, I guess, first of all, the use of the word advertise kind of hits the chord for me. I don't think it should be like, oh, here's our little, this little person that we have here, and we're, they're here at our school for the next 3 years. And I mean, it shouldn't be like advertisement. That's not what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But people need to understand.
Incorporating.
Right. They need to understand that, guess what? These kids, I mean, many of the kids, or I hate to call you kids because you're not, young adults, many of you are coming from situations that aren't destitute. I mean, people want to act like, oh my gosh, they'd be living on the street if they didn't come to ABC, they'd be on the street. No, that's not how this works. I know for myself, the reason I came was because the school system that I was in had problems. Not because my family had problems, okay? But the school system had problems. And I came here for a better education, okay? And people need to understand that. They need to understand why these kids are here and what they bring to the table. Because it's not just that they're getting something from Wellesley. Wellesley is getting something from them.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's a two-way street. Believe you me. Many of these kids, if you have kids who interact with these young ladies, guess what? They're going to be better people at the end of it. Because they're going to learn something that they can't learn just going out to college and all of a sudden they have, their first interaction with someone different than they are. This is going to help them. And that's what we need to be talking about. Not that, oh my gosh, they're a charity case. They're not. We were not charity. That's what we weren't. And that's what we don't like. That's what I didn't like. I didn't like us, oh my goodness, they can't go anywhere. Okay, you know what it takes to make them included in this school. There's all these activities and all this stuff. Provide rides. You got them here. Then if that means if they have activities they need to go to, figure out how they can go. Anyway, I'm gonna get off my soapbox.
I'm Mia's mom, and I'm gonna comment on a couple of things that you said. When she talked about the stuff that's in the classroom with the kids and some of their reactions, and they feel that they're better than she is, I always tell her, I said, you're an African American young lady. I'm a little older, a little older than her. This is something that we're gonna deal with for the rest of your life. And I said, what's gonna make a difference in how it affects you is how you react. I said, you could take the time to educate, but not everyone's gonna be receptive to whatever she's saying. Some people, and unfortunately kids at their age of 17, 16, whatever is going on in their home and what they're exposed to, that's what they're gonna bring out. They don't know unless they've experienced what it is to be an African American and to be shunned and talked down to. Unless they are exposed to it, they have no clue. So right now she's having a situation with someone and they've been going back and forth, and I said, don't let it upset you. You say your piece and then you step back, because I think everyone knows her because she's very assertive and she's involved in everything. And I said, but you don't want to, you can stand up, and she does not. She stands up for herself, and she stands up for everybody else, which sometimes is a little too much. But there's only so much you can do with educating, especially your peers. I think the environment that they're in the ABC house, I applaud everyone because they do provide rides. They do. They take care of them. I know that if they're, and that's one reason why I feel confident. And I felt confident with her being in that environment because the women that surround them, the volunteers, she's always getting a ride somewhere. Somebody's taking her Savers, the shopping, the mall. So I think that environment, they're there for them. I think that she never feels that she can't get a ride, or if something happens, she knows she has numbers to call. What else? There was something else I wanted to talk about. I think that you're right. You know, they're not coming from a destitute situation. They're not coming from places where they can't. Like you said, we're not living in barns and stuff like that. So even that, sometimes I tell them, yeah, you know the quality of the education you're getting. And that's one of the reasons why she's here also, because our school system wasn't, you know, and it was very difficult coming through the ABC program. So for her to be here, invited, and for her to be doing as well as she's doing, that's what's in her. And I think that they help to bring that out of them with all the extra counseling and tutor, and they get a lot of help. So I think that from my experience, and she started here as a sophomore, from my experience, what they've gotten from the ABC, and she's had a couple of situations where she's gone in to speak to the assistant principal and the principal, and they handled it. She had a situation, going back, I think it was with you, at the CVS, where someone was following them and told them they had to get out of the store. And I think the way the school handled the situation.
It wasn't the school, it was the board.
The ABC board.
Yeah.
Whoever handled it, I think the way it was handled, I was in tears. But the way it was handled, I was applauding them. So I think that in that aspect, they do have their back and they take care of them. Right?
Well, I don't want to give the impression that I don't think that. I mean, I went through the program, I get that. But what I'm saying is that I would love to see the scholars feel very proud of being in the program. That's what I would like. I would like that. You feel like you're special. Okay? Not different, special, because you were selected. And it's going to, I mean, as you go through college, as you go through other places in your life, that's important.
So I just want to add to that point. So I'm on the board, and we've been so careful with our language, so the girls don't feel like they're in that position. And we do a lot of outreach to supporters and so forth. Unfortunately, that never trickles down to the kids that they're in school with. So, you know, I don't know what the solution is for that, because this is something that we've heard over a number of years, with the girls feeling sort of second class, where they feel like they're poor kids or something. And we've been very careful not to use that sort of language, and to talk about that these girls are coming from underserved school communities. But again, it doesn't trickle down to the kids that they interact with on a daily basis, because they're not the ones reading our outreach. So I don't know what the answer is, but, you know, just want to let you all know that, you know, we have gotten this feedback before, and we have, you know, we don't have all the answers all the time.
Yeah, Denise, this is a really interesting conversation, because I've been struggling with what language to use. Like when you said we had literature that said underserved, and then some of the scholars and board members thought that was inappropriate. And like, I think what I'm hearing, what I didn't realize before, is it's not the families that are underserved, it's the community school system that's underserved. And so maybe we need better publicity. I mean, we're all volunteers, so we don't have a publicist. But if we can do a better job reaching out to the community and explaining to the community what the purpose of ABC is, I think it would be good to try to use language that doesn't offend anybody, but that explains what you were saying, that there are some school systems.
Our latest.
We have changed
It
it.
was gonna be educationally underserved communities.
Well, I don't know, we've been arguing about that for like 3 years, and I thought that we're not allowed to say underserved.
If it's educationally.
Communities, we talk about underserved communities.
Educationally, okay.
Oh, can I say something?
Mhm.
I don't know how helpful this is, but I feel like there's a lack of even saying underserved educational communities, especially with saying how many people or kids and adults are sheltered in this community. How much context do they have about why the school system is even underserved in the first place? Or like, I feel like if you're gonna say something like that, it's good to just give overall. I want to just go to like saying sometimes even historical context about why is this community, why is a school like this, like why do these students have to come all the way over here to get to a better school system, instead of just vaguely like saying these kids are coming from this school system and the school system is just like this because people don't even know why it's like that in the first place. It's just like maybe instead of like, I think the education also comes from the background, and I feel like if you don't give the background, then people are just understanding what's at face value, and I think that's even regardless of what language you use, it's just the language in itself is out of context, and maybe I think what could be helpful is educating on why is, like the why are people come here? Why do kids have to come here to go to school? Like, what is the reason? Instead of just being like, this school was underserved, or this school doesn't have these resources, or something like that. So I feel like this is missing like the context of the actual situation. But,
It's interesting because I think there was a time, and Amira, you probably could speak to this, tell me if I'm wrong. There was a time when I felt like ABC was embedded in the school. And when we walked the hallways, it was like, oh, you're an ABC student. Oh, you're smart. Oh, you're doing that. Like, we felt actually like, we're up here, you know what I mean? Because it was embedded. My guidance counselor, like, phenomenal. Teachers walked into a room, they knew we were ABC. It was just embedded in the entire school. So I'm wondering where in the mix that got lost, because it really was embedded.
oh, I mean, that was my experience. I mean, I talked to teachers and they were like, oh, you're in ABC? And I'm like, yeah. And then that was just kind of it. So I don't know how it was like everyone else, but at least my teachers, like, they knew where I was coming from.
And students as
The
well.
No, the students, I had to like explain it to them like a lot, and it was just a lot of work to try to like give the context, and I asked a lot of, which I was fine with answering the questions, but I had to do it like a lot, and the students had no idea what it was. Like, I have friends that live like right down the block from me, and I had to explain to them where I was and why I was in the house. So I'm just like, obviously nothing against them, but it's just like I have to explain myself a lot to a lot of the students about where it's coming from, why I was there, and how it works. So it was just like, repetitively, kind of tedious actually, but I mean,
I wonder where that got.
Yeah, and it's also tough, right? Because that's part of the job too, as a scholar, right? It's almost like, but it's a lot to ask of a young person, right? But I mean, we're constantly explaining ourselves and who we are and acting as a bridge, and it's a lot to ask for someone who's 14, 15 years old, who doesn't know themselves who they are, or how do they fit, or what their own identity is. So it's it's a little bit of both, you know. But I'm afraid it comes with the territory, and it never goes away, because it's like everyone. I mean, even it's like you went to what you went to high school, and it's like the facts of life. Oh yeah,
That's exactly. It's like the facts of life. Yeah.
But it's it kind of it's hard. That's the hard part of the program.
Well, we're not gonna solve it here, but we have great help.
Yeah. And thanks to everyone, right? Like, again, just thank you for everything, for being here, and just for everything that you do for this program every single day. I mean, Deborah, you just spearheaded and honestly, just fighting to get connections and things like that. When I went through the ABC house today, and just the contractor who built one of the walls, I'm like, that's an ally, like, you're part of this program, you're part of pouring into this program. So everyone in here, I appreciate you. I'm telling you, when I drove down through Wellesley, my heart had a lump in my throat. Although I don't know any of the stores anymore, I just know, like, where's Eileen's basement? And I just don't understand, but, you know, it's just, I'm grateful to everyone here. I'm grateful to my new ABC sisters and ones I've just met and ones who went through the program with me. So thank you so much. So appreciate
It's
it.
50 years of excellence.
Excellent.
Well, thank you, all of you, for coming, and you know who deserves a real extra special thanks is the parents of these girls that done their girls'
Absolutely.
It's so great. So let's